What is up, everybody? Welcome to the channel, and thank you so much for clicking on today's video. If you have ever wanted to hook into a monster redfish, and a lot of them, then this is the video for you, and this is the time of year to do it. So in this video today, I'm going to be going over exactly when, where, and how to catch big old bull redfish during the fall run. Let's get into it. Every year, starting in late August and running through November, schools of big redfish, or better known as bull reds, start moving out to spawn, and this is what we call the redfish run. Now, in my opinion, September and October are the best times of the year for the bull red run at the beach, but you can catch them in the surf pretty much all year long. However, you'll catch way more and usually closer into the beach during the early fall. And now that you know what time of the year is best for targeting these big redfish, you're probably wondering what time of the day you should head out and wet a line. So the truth is, you can catch them all day and all night long, but I generally prefer early morning, late afternoon, and well into the night. And the reason for this is because during those times of day, the water is cooled off and the fish come closer to shore, so it's easier to get your bait out to them. Every year, we do an overnight camping trip to the beach in September just to target these things, and we tend to catch more right after sundown, and we often catch them in the second gut just casting from waist deep. That's what we've been waiting for all night. So now that we've talked about when to fish, let's talk spots. In the Galveston area, you have about 5 main spots to target bull reds during the run. The first spot I'm going to talk about, and probably one of the most popular spots if you are a boater, is going to be the Galveston North and South jetties. These jetties act like fish highways. They are funnel points for reds heading to spawn. Fish near the tips and along the channel sides with live or cut bait. And if you're a land-based fisherman, anywhere along the rocks that run down the South Jetty near Fort San Jacinto is super deep and a great spot. In between the jetties is a ship channel, and it is the main entrance and exit from Galveston Bay for all these fish. Spot number 2 is going to be the Surfside Jetty. While not technically in Galveston, it is a popular spot that a lot of us fishermen from around here frequently visit, and it is a great spot if you do not have a boat, because both of the jetties over there are very accessible by foot. They have walkways going all the way down them and plenty of fish action. This is once again another highway for the fish moving into and out of the bays. It's extremely deep on the channel side, and usually you have better water conditions here than Galveston. And it's not uncommon to have big schools of reds move through during the fall and bust up all over the surface. Throwing lures at these big schools of fish is truly an amazing experience. Spot number 3 is going to be none other than the famous San Luis Pass. If you're gonna fish this spot, I'll give you a warning right now. You have to be careful because it has some very dangerous currents. The pass connects the bay to the Gulf and creates a natural bottleneck. Big reds pile in here during tide changes and feed on all the bait flushing out. If you're going to fish here, do not go deep into the water because, like I said earlier, the currents will sweep you away in a second. And you're also going to need heavy gear and big spider weights to keep your bait in the zone. And spot number 4 is going to be the beachfront. This is by far my favorite place to target these fish. There is miles and miles of open beachfront where you can set up on the sand, cast out some baits, and hook into some monsters. There's just something about landing some big giant fish from the sand that is super fun and super rewarding. Now, when fishing the beach, it's important to understand that the fish are everywhere, but usually not everywhere at once. And what I mean is that people always ask where the best spot on the beach is. Well, we have miles of coastline here, and it's all good for bull reds. It's just a waiting game though. They are constantly moving up and down the beach, so although you may not be getting any bites for a couple of hours, it could turn on all of a sudden and you could catch 4 or 5 back to back. The last and most important thing about surf fishing is knowing where to cast. You have to make sure you're casting into the guts. The gut is the low spot or deeper water in between the sandbars. The fish cruise the beach in the guts, and if your bait is not in the right spot, you won't catch them. To locate a gut, just look for where the waves are breaking. Waves break on top of sandbars, so the guts are on either side of the breaking waves. Try to get it out into the second gut. And spot number 5, last but definitely not least, is going to be the fishing piers that shoot out from the beach. Now, Galveston has 2 along the seawall, 61st Street and 91st Street, but there's many more piers being built all up and down the coast of Texas as we speak that should be done within the next year. So piers are basically the same as the beachfront because they do go out into the surf. The only difference is you can stay high and dry, and it's very easy to get your baits out deeper by fishing from the end of the pier. The Galveston fishing piers are great spots all year long to catch bull reds, but a hot spot during the fall run. I will warn you though, they do get very crowded when the action is good, so you'll probably be fighting the crowds just to cast out your line. So now that we have talked where to fish, let's talk gear. These are not your average slot reds. Bull reds over 40 inches are common, and you don't want to bring a knife to a gunfight. So here is the rod and the rig that I'm using. This is a Pin Carnage surf rod, a 10-foot. It doesn't specifically say, but it's like a medium to medium heavy rod. Perfect for casting big baits and catching big fish. And then for the reel, I have a Pin Battle 3 6,000 size reel. That's about the minimum I like to go in the surf. Not because a smaller reel won't handle these fish, but mainly because of line capacity. I have about 300 yards of 50-pound braid on there. So any sort of surf fishing combo will work. But for me, I just like to use an 8 to 10 foot rod and medium heavy to heavy action. And whether it's spinning or conventional, that all just depends on your preference. And then for the reel, a 5,000 through 8,000 size spinning reel or the equivalent conventional reel is perfect. If I'm fishing the beach, I usually use a 6,000 or 8,000 just because of the extra line capacity, which allows me to get my bait out deeper. And not to mention, it's not uncommon to hook into some big sharks this time of year as well, and you don't want to get spooled on a small reel. And for the line, I usually just put on some 40 through 65 pound braid. People do use lighter line, but the lighter the line is, the more prone it is to abrasion, and the sand will eat away at it if you're fishing on the beach. You can also use mono, but once again, the reel will hold more yards of braid, so you get more line capacity versus a mono. And then for the rig, this is just your typical bull red leader right here. You can make these yourself, but I just like to buy them at the local bait shops. This thing was about, I think, $7 or $8. And as you can see, it's like really heavy, 300, 400 pound mono, something like that. Some big old barrel swivels, a snap for your weight, and then a big old circle hook on the bottom. And these work just fine. And then today I have a 6-ounce spider weight because the surf is a little rough, and anything smaller than that will probably roll. And the last thing to go over is bait. Fresh bait is key. You can take a cast net and catch it for yourself, but if you can't get it for yourself, hit up a local bait shop and they will have plenty of options. Just make sure that it is fresh. You do not want old, mushy bait. It will fall off your hook whenever you cast, and it will not stay on as long once it's in the water. Now, redfish are definitely not picky eaters. Just to name a few good options, you can use whiting, croaker, big shrimp, or shad. And then my two absolute favorite baits would be mullet and crab. Mullet are plentiful and easy to catch this time of year with a cast net and do not fall off the hook if you hook them up right. And blue crab is always one of my favorites for reds. It stays on the hook very well, and it also helps you stay away from the bait stealers like gaff top and small sharks. And that's the reason when using mullet, you have to use big chunks or just whole live mullet, because it helps weed out the gaff top. It's not that the reds won't eat small baits, because they absolutely will, but you'll just be dealing with bait stealers all day long. Run up through that head. Make sure that hook is exposed, and that is a perfect bait. So now that I've gone over pretty much everything you need to know to go out there and catch big bull reds, like when, where, and how, I just want to give you a few little tips that I've learned over the years to keep in mind. So when you land a big bull red, don't forget to treat it with respect. Make sure to support its belly and avoid dragging it all over the rocks or throwing it up on the sand, and never lift it by the jaw only. Just take your photo fast, revive the fish, and let it swim off strong. And also don't forget that the redfish size limit is 20 to 28 inches. However, you can tag one a year over 28 inches. And if you are going to tag one, my recommendation is to try and get one as close to 28 inches as possible. Like anywhere from 28 to 33 inches is perfect, because from my own experience, once they get much bigger than that, their meat gets very coarse and it's just not as tasty. Now, I usually keep my tag just in case one gets hooked bad, and then I'll tag it instead of just letting it die and go to waste. With that being said, I'm not trying to tell you what to do. It's legal, and if you want to harvest one, go for it. There's plenty of bull reds out there. All right, y'all. Well, that is your full guide to catch bull redfish this fall in the Galveston area. And really, these tips apply to anywhere up and down the entire Texas coast. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to hit the like button, leave a comment down below letting me know what your favorite bull red bait is, and don't forget to subscribe for more Texas saltwater fishing tips. And I also want to give a big thank you to all the companies that help support the channel. I'll have all the information linked down below for all the gear I use, including this awesome apparel right here from Salt Mafia. As you can see, I always wear their hats. This is one of their new patch hats. I think it looks really awesome, and I encourage you guys to go check them out. These things are made for fishing, ultimate performance hats. So big thank you to them, and big thank you to everyone else. Everything, like I said, will be in the description down below if you want to check out any of the gear. Once again, thanks for watching. Tight lines, and I'll see you all in the water. Peace.